Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Welcome to the Ramsey Show, where we help you win in your life, specifically with your money, with your work, and in your relationships. Alongside George Kamel, I'm Ken Coleman. Thrilled to be with you guys today. 888-825-5225 is the number to jump in. 888-825-5225. All right, let's start it off with Amy in Minneapolis. Amy, how can we help?
Well, I am turning 61 in 2 weeks.
All right. That sounds exciting.
Early birthday.
And I have been good with my money all along, but I have failed to have a retirement fund. And I'm wondering at this point what I can do or so that I can retire maybe at 67.
All right. Okay. So we're working with 6 years to retire, and you have zero. George is going to walk you through this, but just a couple quick questions. You have zero, or you have very little, or you? What's the real here?
I have no retirement fund, but I have cash, and I have no real debt. The only debt I have is about $9,000 that I took out a 0% interest loan and did some updates on my house.
Okay,
sure sounds like real debt to me.
Well, yeah, that. But other than that, I have no debt.
What kind of cash do you have?
About $200,000.
And what's that sitting in?
A couple bank accounts.
Okay.
Just in checking accounts or normal savings accounts? Are they making 0%?
No, they're making a little bit. There's a couple of them in savings, and then some of it's just cash.
Okay, so we can get that money invested working for you at least. What is your income?
I do childcare. It varies every year, but around like
57,000. Okay. And do you have any pension or anything like that? Any other retirement income we should be aware of?
Nope.
Okay.
I have a life insurance, a small life insurance policy. That's all I have.
Okay. And are you living alone?
Yes.
All right.
Right now, my 19-year-old is away at college, but I mean he'll be here when he's not at college.
Okay. And are you a homeowner?
I own my home. Yes.
It's paid for? No mortgage?
It's been paid for no mortgage.
Good. What's that worth?
I'm thinking around $280.
Okay. And what are your monthly expenses? Have you added this up to see, here's my monthly budget, here's what I need to live?
My monthly expenses are about $1,675.
Okay, great. So here's some good news. You don't need a lot to survive. Now, I don't know what your retirement plans are. I don't know if you had big dreams. We might need to change that picture based on the reality of where we're at.
Right.
But based on my math, you're going to need, and this is not including health care if there's any other needs you have, but you're talking about $20,000 a year is what you're going to be spending.
Okay.
So here's the good news. If you put the majority of your savings into the stock market, into a good growth stock mutual fund or an index fund, you would see on average over, the next 20, 30 years in your retirement, 10 to 12% return. Which means you put $200 in, on average, again, not every year, you're going to see $20,000, another $20,000. And so that gives me some hope that you're not going to be out on the street. But we're also not going to be eating out and going on vacations. This is going to be a bare bones retirement.
Okay.
Now, if you could invest a big portion of your income, now that you have a paid-for house, how much could you invest every month from your income? Could you do, let's say, $2,000?
Every month?
Yes.
Probably not. I could probably do 1,000.
Well, you told me your expenses are about $1,600. You're taking home probably close to $4,000, right?
Yeah, it just depends on the time of the year. During the summer, I make a lot more because I have way more children, and then
Well,
During
Ken
the
can help
winter,
you
I
fill
have
in the
less,
gaps of
yeah.
income. But if you have stable income, you could invest $2,000 every single month from age 61 to 67. You would likely have around $200,000 sitting in that investment account.
Okay.
So that is one option on top of the savings you have, putting that into the market. I also would recommend you sit down with a financial advisor and actually crunch these numbers, and they'll walk you through to make sure you're understanding where you're putting this money. I don't want you to do it because George said or Ken said. I want you to do it because
right. No, and that's,
Amy understands.
I guess I've always, and that's kind of why I haven't done. I just don't understand any of it, and I've always been afraid of it, and I've watched too much American Greed. So,
well, I keep thinking of this line for you. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best next time is today. And so I know
Right.
you're 60 and you feel behind. There's probably some guilt that you could have done more. You should have done more. You should have been investing. But I'm telling you, it's not too late to have some dignity in retirement, but it starts today. We can't have the
Right.
excuse any longer of, well, I just don't know what I'm doing. Ignorance was bliss until this call.
okay, yep, I get it.
Now let's talk about that seasonal income gap. What are you doing in the wintertime? What changes that you don't have enough work?
I have more. I do childcare, and so during the summer I get a full house. I have all the kids from school age children. So I have 12 kids all summer long.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the winter, kids go off to school, and I tend to have less. And this year I chose to have a few less because I took my first grandbaby. I'm watching her, and with a baby, it's just a lot more work. And so I've had less children during the years. But
Yeah. Are you getting paid to watch the baby, or is this just grandma stuff?
Partially.
Okay. So what would be...
Not a lot.
So let's say, just for sake of numbers, okay, let's say that there wasn't a drop-off between the summer and the rest of the year. How much more additional money would you make over and above the $57,000? What do you think that number would be if you just had the same amount of kids all year round?
Probably a good another 20, 30. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the thing I want you to think about. George has done a great job laying out, okay, what you need to do. And here's the deal. That $200,000 is something to build on, plus your existing money as you're putting in $1,000 a month. But I want to challenge you to just believe what you just said. Let's just round down. Let's say you did something to go, okay, I'm going to be more aggressive in talking about it. There are parents everywhere around you who would much rather have their child with you. It's probably even more affordable than what they're looking at in the marketplace. There is no shortage of children who need to be watched. So with a little bit of aggression, more intentionality, letting people know, let's say you were able to make an additional $20,000 a year over the next 6 years. Okay? That's a lot of money, George, coming back to your calculator. She can now put maybe $3,000 a month away, and all of a sudden
Changes your retirement drastically.
It changes it.
And you might need to work until 70.
That's right.
You get to retire when the numbers say you do, not when you just decide. And so jump on to RamseySolutions.com, get in touch with a SmartVestor Pro. They can walk you through the investing portion. And this is going to take work. And you got to remember, inflation's going to be kicking your retirement in the pants. So you got to get on top of this thing and start investing instead of just saving.
But George and I we really believe, Amy, you can do this. I think this is extra income, and I do think this is tightening of the expenses as well, and you can get there. All right, quick break. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys, I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And, you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse. They've lost somebody important to them.
Me
and
too.
They don't know what to do next.
Me
right?
too. I mean,
It's
you're going to
terrifying.
have a crisis here. And, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
two options.
And
take care of
term-
your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282.
Welcome back, America. Thrilled to have you with us alongside the incomparable and the very, very sharp-dressed man, George Kamel. I'm Ken Coleman.
So kind.
888-825-5225 is the phone number. Taking your money questions and your income questions. So George is our money resident. I might pipe in. I've been known to do it.
You've got a lot of great thoughts.
But I'm more in the win with the income, right? Are we winning at work so that we have the opportunity to make more money? So if you're feeling stuck professionally, we're going to equate that to our financial situation. So I'm here to help on that as well.
Ken will help you afford eggs.
That's right.
That's the goal today.
Have you noticed? Do you eat a lot of eggs?
I went out and bought eggs last night.
All right.
And I was shocked. I told the cashier, I
Yeah.
said, I thought egg prices were supposed to be jacked up. This is a reasonable price. I even opted for the pasture raised.
Did you?
I really went all out.
You went high end.
$4.99.
Yeah,
Very
well,
reasonable.
Yeah, the cost of eggs are actually moving up, so we'll see what happens. But they're really good for you. Let's go to Jason in Houston, Texas. Jason, how can we help today?
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, we're having fun. What's going on?
Yeah, so I want to try to be succinct and not really reveal too much, but as much as I can.
What
personal,
do we need to know here? Do we need to be careful in
Yeah,
how we
so-
ask follow-up questions?
I'm beginning to think your
absolutely,
real name isn't Jason.
Oh, maybe it's
anything
not.
you need to ask.
Okay.
Basically, me and my fiance are getting married. We're just doing a one-on-one ceremony, me and her, in about a month. And we had decided to fund this ourselves, and our budget was around $10,000 to $12,000. In the initial discussions, I was going to bring X amount of money. She was going to bring a significant portion, so I was going to bring around $2,500. She was going to cover the rest. When we had this discussion, when we planned this, I had decided, I had budgeted based on projected income for the month of January and how much margin I would have in my budget. That did not come to fruition, and it's created a strain because I'm not able to contribute the portion that I thought I would be able to. I'm in a very tight budget right now. I will follow that up with I am bringing debt into this marriage. From the second we'd even discussed marriage, she's had a full look into my finances. She sees what I spend. There's nothing hidden. And we have agreed that when we combine our finances, when we get married, that we're going to do the Ramsey plan to bring the debt, to attack the debt that I'm bringing into the marriage. Sure. So a couple things. There is a lot of shame and guilt on my end, too.
Sure.
And on her end, I think there might be some, not necessarily resentment building, but I don't want that to happen. And yesterday, there was kind of some expression of that. And
well, let me ask you a quick question. She's fully aware of your finances, and which means she's probably very fully aware of your work and how you get paid, and that it sounds like you had no control over this income. So she's disappointed, yes, but does she understand the circumstances by which the money hasn't come in like you thought it would?
Yes, and that's kind of the question.
All right, second question. I thought, and I don't know if, George, you heard this, so I'm coming to you, Jason. I thought you started off the call by saying we're having a one-on-one wedding.
Yes, sir. We're all open.
So why is it
$10,000?
$12,000?
Yeah, I don't understand.
This was the kind of the dream that she had, and what we had thought we could budget for. And so there's been deposits placed, airline tickets placed, SIM money already spent. That would be really hard to sort of bring up. And
okay, so hold on a second. Hold on. So she had a vision for a wedding, and now we can't afford it. So now we're opting for the one-on-one at the courthouse.
Well, no, it's still affordable. Just the portion that I was supposed to afford is no
I just don't
longer there.
understand, George.
So
why
what
we're
changes
spending
now?
$12,000?
Let's say you can't give this $2,500. You can't give a dime. What changes about this wedding a month from now? What can't we do that we said we were going to do?
Well, that's exactly the question. We can do it, and per our conversation last night, the sort of thought is just get it done. But my question is more relational. I don't want there to be any harbored resentment or doubt from her because I was not able to uphold my end of the bargain.
Here's the third question. Is there a pattern of you making a promise, telling her something, and then it not coming to fruition? Or are you letting her down? Is this the first time this has happened?
As far as I know, absolutely not, no. And 100% transparency, no.
Have you told her about this yet? And just be honest with her and say, hey, listen, I was expecting this income.
Oh, yeah, they talked about
So
that.
she's already, but she expressed some, disappointment. She was upset about it, and she's obviously pretty. There's a lot of emotion already with planning a wedding and doing this. Even if it's just one-on-one, it's a big life change, and I think this just probably triggered something inside of her. Going, this man, is he going to be able to provide? Is he going to be able to be the partner and leader that I need him to be? So it's probably causing some bigger questions in her mind, and I think that's worth a second conversation with her.
Okay, and it's a shame that I'm feeling as well, and I guess I'm just curious about how to best approach that.
Well, so
that.
okay, I think that
what tangibly I can do between now and then to.
Okay, so we
try to
can't
use
really
that.
answer that until we understand what happened. What is the nature of your job? Or could you share with us briefly the circumstances that led to you not getting paid what you projected that you might? What happened?
Very easily. I do two things. I'm a field inspector and I sell real estate. And my field inspection job is my main source of income. I make basically just enough to pay my bills to get by with that. And then real estate, I switched brokerages back to a brokerage that I have been affiliated with before. So when I made this change, we discussed it. I said, hey, I can either focus my attention at this real estate and see the benefits from that 3 to 6 months from now. I've done that before. I know what it looks like. Or I can, in the immediate, in the next 3 months, go get a job doing whatever on the side to stack cash for this elopement. And we decided that the first option was how I would proceed. There was about a $2,000 job through this field inspection job that I do that I was anticipating and told would happen in January. And that money was earmarked for the elopement, and that work never came to fruition through the company that I'm working with.
Okay, so you have another month to go. Is this wedding in March?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can go do a side gig, one of these, kind of a Instacart, Uber Eats, whatever it is. You can go sign up for one of those and go make $500 a week until the wedding.
Okay. And that was always my thought. Okay, hey,
do whatever it takes. I think that'll prove to her that you're serious about this.
Yeah, I get it. George, that's a great suggestion. Jason, honestly, bro, you've got some self-belief issues.
Okay.
So that's going to need to be dealt with, number one. But the best way to kind of deal with this, you're down in the dumps. Dude, you sound like what maybe a balloon that's lost all its air would sound like if it were talking. That's what you sound like. And I'm not making fun of you. I'm saying that's what it sounds like. You sound so deflated. But George is right. Bro, you can make $2,500 between now and that wedding day, and I would start doing it.
Okay.
Now, sell something. If you can't sell something and come up with $300, go sell it for somebody else. Go to all your friends. I mean, I'm telling you, bro, like this is your chance to feel good about yourself. I understand why you're deflated. But man, this is an opportunity for you to go, wait a second. I can earn $2,500 between now and wedding day, and I'm going to absolutely die trying. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to find all the ways to do it. And that's all I'm doing. I'm waking up going, I've got you need a poster board in your bedroom on your mirror looking at some type of a thermometer that
love
people
it.
do, like $2,500 or bust.
If there's 35 days for the wedding, say I'm going to make $100 every day, no matter what, come hell or high water.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's go. And then here's the deal. And then enter into this marriage all in with your wife to be on the baby steps. How can let's give them a wedding gift, George. What should we do?
Ooh, I love it. I think Financial Peace University for the two of you would be great, along with Breaking Free from Broke for you specifically, Jason. Read the Margin is Breathing Room chapter. I've got 10 ways to make more, 10 ways to spend less. If you do both of those things, you're going to find that margin to save up. And I want you to have that next conversation, not with a mopey attitude, but with optimism, with an excitement, with an enthusiasm that she goes, oh my gosh, this is a new Jason.
That's right. And tell her, I'm going to come up with the $2,500, babe. Don't worry about it. I may not see much of you, but it's going to be a great wedding. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey y'all, it's Rachel Cruz. Just about everything costs more these days, and unfortunately, healthcare is no exception. So if you're looking at your healthcare options during open enrollment and finding that your costs are increasing while your number of choices are decreasing, be sure to check out Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not health insurance. It's a biblically based health cost-sharing ministry that's helped hundreds of thousands of families just like yours cover nearly $10 billion in healthcare costs. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is an affordable option that aligns with your values and makes it possible for your family to save on healthcare. Plus, you can join at any time, including open enrollment. You guys, CHM has been helping Ramsey fans for 15 years, and they're the only health cost-sharing provider endorsed by Ramsey. So you can trust CHM to take care of you like we would. Programs start as low as $98 a month. So find out more and join today at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show alongside George Kamel. I'm Ken Coleman. Phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Hey, it's time for our question of the day, brought to you by our good friends at Y Refi. Now, you know we don't recommend refinancing on everything, but for distressed private student loans, there's Y Refi. We trust Y Refi because they help you with a low fixed interest rate that you couldn't get anywhere else to help you stick to your budget and get out of debt. Learn more at yrefi.com/Ramsey. That's the letter Y, REFY.com/Ramsey. It may not be available in all states.
Today's question comes from Felix in North Dakota. Bitcoin has been going through the roof recently, and it looks like it's becoming more and more of a stable investment. Do you now recommend it as an investment, or do you still believe it's too dangerous of an investment and that people should steer clear of it?
Oh,
good question.
I'm actually interested.
Excited
to see what you say about
to clear the air on Bitcoin because people really want to know my opinion. Said no one.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I've never been anti-Bitcoin. We took a call yesterday, Ken. Young man had every single one of his dollars in Bitcoin.
Okay.
Had nothing in savings, everything in Bitcoin. And he had been doing really well. And he asked us, well, what's wrong with this? And I'm going, you've been alive for 4 days. So, yeah, if you just think this is how it's always going to be, then sure. But, you know, we've seen things. We've seen Bitcoin drop 50% in value in 2022. It's 24/7. There's a lot of fraud and scams around the crypto world right now. It's been on a wild trend up lately, and so you're going, well, why invest in the stock market to get a measly 10% when I could get 1,000%? And so what it really comes down to is what I call the three stooges of wealth, which trips people up, especially young people. It's fear, greed, and pride. So it's the I'm so scared. There's the FOMO of I got to get in this now or else I'm going to be broke forever. There's the pride of, well, I know better. There's a little bit of arrogance there. And then there's the greed of just like, I'm not going to settle for 12% and a slow way to wealth when I can make it a lot faster. And so with Bitcoin, it's like investing in any single stock that's been on a wild ride. You know, you see NVIDIA going up, and then DeepSeek from China came out, and NVIDIA takes it. And there's all this just gyration and fear in the market of what anything's going to do. And it's why I recommend diversifying. So it really comes down to diversifying versus Bitcoin equals bad. And it's more that you got all your eggs in one basket. That's too much risk for one person to handle. And so if you want to invest in Bitcoin, I can't say invest. If you want to speculate in Bitcoin, put some money in that after you've already invested 15% of your income into retirement, into tax-advantaged retirement plans, proven mutual funds and index funds, be my guest and use your fund money to do that, knowing this is money you could burn on the table. But putting all the chips in on Bitcoin, I'm telling you, I think history is going to show that was a very risky move. Now, there's Bitcoin billionaires out there who are going, ha, and they're laughing from their private islands right now. That could be the case.
Well, I think it's here. I think there's no question that cryptocurrency is here to stay. So
As a technology, the blockchain,
it's here.
yeah.
And I would say Bitcoin is here. I'm not saying Bitcoin can't fall. I'm not saying I disagree with anything you said. In fact, I agree with everything. I would say to somebody, yeah, if you want to invest in Bitcoin, I would treat it just like we tell people to go sit down with a SmartVestor Pro and learn about the strategies so that you understand what you're doing. But I agree with you that it should be a part of a diversified strategy, not all eggs in that basket. I agree with that. And that's just smart investing strategy. But I will say this. My position on crypto and Bitcoin early on was it's risky right now. But there will come a day, and I still hold this. And I think Trump, by the way, is already rattling his saber on this.
Well, he's already made $1 bajillion doing it.
He has.
So, of course, he's a fan.
I know, but I'm saying you're going to see this become regulated just like banking, just like the stocks. And I think when it becomes regulated, because it will on some level, some people would take issue with me on that, and I'm okay with that. I am making a prediction here. But I believe that once it's regulated, I believe it becomes far more stable. I'm not a fan of regulation as a whole, but there needs to be, it's the wild, wild west right now.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I think there will be a mutual fund filled with different cryptocurrencies.
So diversification is the answer. I agree with you. I just wanted to add that little 2 cents there, that I don't think you should feel like, oh, it's stupid to invest in it. No, I think it's just like any other investment. You got to do your homework. What level of risk? If you sit down with a good professional, so we talk about the SmartVestor Pros that are out there. Okay, and we link to them, and you can go meet them. You talk with any investment professional. One of the first things they're going to talk to you about is where are you at, where in your finances, and what's your level of risk. And so I would treat any crypto thing as a high risk thing right now.
Yep. And the other piece of this we didn't talk about is that Bitcoin isn't based in anything. When you invest in a mutual fund, it's filled with 90 to 200
That's correct.
stocks of actual companies producing real
That's right.
products and services and real revenue.
That's right.
that you can attribute to that. And therefore, what is it based on? Well, a lot of hype. A lot of, well, my buddy said, and they're investing, so it must be good. And
Well,
so,
it is a currency. It is
Exactly.
you are investing in an alternative currency, and that's the bet. It's like gold. People that
Absolutely.
invest in gold, well, you're investing in crypto.
And the last thing I do is I go, what are actual wealthy people doing with their money? And what I found is most of them aren't saying, oh, dude, you got to get in on crypto. They might be dabbling in there with a very, very tiny percent of their world. They're not going all in on it. And so if you want to know how actual wealthy people invest, Dave Ramsey will be unpacking that in a 2-night virtual event called Investing Essentials. I'll be joining him. And here's the deal. We know that if you're following social media, you're going to get investing advice from a 60-second TikTok reel or Instagram reel. That's dangerous. At this virtual event, over 2 nights, 2 hours a night, we're going to walk you through how to maximize your retirement plans, how to choose the right funds, how to get the most out of your money, how to invest with confidence. Plus, it's the only place you're going to hear Dave unpacking his personal playbook on real estate investing, which is fascinating stuff, something he's never done here on the show. This is brand new information. You're going to get the clarity you need to invest. So join us March 4th and 5th from the comfort of your home. It's completely virtual. Tickets start at $199. Get yours today at RamseySolutions.com/events or click the link in the show notes if you're on podcast or YouTube.
All right, great. Let's go to Alicia, who's joining us in San Antonio, Texas. Alicia, how can we help?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sure. What's going on?
So my husband and I are trying to get out of debt. Right now we have a $26,000 car loan. We want to get rid of that for an $8,000 2012 minivan. But we would be rolling over negative equity if we decide to roll over. But
Can you
my
just
husband,
not? Why are you trying to go into debt again?
Well, that's the thing. We're trying to get out of this car loan. But
What's
we
it
owe
worth?
negative equity about $4,000 to $6,000.
Okay. So it's worth about 22?
And my husband,
20 or 22?
sorry, what was that?
The car is worth 20 to
It's
22 grand if you sold it today.
If we sold it to CarMax today, 22. If we sold it to the dealership, about 18.
Well, why not sell it private party and get 25?
I don't think it would be worth that much.
Well, you know, CarMax is buying it at 22 and they're going to sell it for 28. They're buying it at a discount from you, and so you're getting screwed on these kind of trade-in deals, and they're going to try to then sell you on a car you can't afford again. I'd rather see you sell it private party, clean it up, sell it on Facebook Marketplace for 25 or 26, and be as little underwater as possible, if not break even.
So the thing about private party, it just doesn't sound safe, and I don't want to screw myself over, like selling it private party.
It doesn't sound safe. You mean meeting strangers
Meet in a
to look
public
at the
place
car?
in daylight. Bring
Or
someone
just-
with you.
No, not like that. Like I mean, like legit. Like if I sell it private party, I would have to make sure that
Go to
they're
the bank
taken
with
care
them.
of.
Yeah, go to the bank, ask for a cashier's check, go to the bank, have it cashed. They'll verify the funds are there.
This
But
happens
it's not
all
worth
the time.
losing $4,000 over. Do you guys have any money in cash to cover
Yes,
the negative
we
equity?
have, yeah, we have about $3,000.
Okay, that will clear it. You still don't have the 8 for this minivan, so we need to figure out what we're going to do. If that's going to a local credit union to get the difference so that you can get a cheaper car. But I think we still need to figure out how we get an even cheaper car for now until we can upgrade to the $8,000 minivan. But I would not roll the negative equity. Bad plan. This is going to keep you where you're at.
Thanks for the call, Alicia. You can do this. I've done this so many times over the last couple years,
Don't be
buying
scared.
cars for my teenagers and selling. All right, quick break. We'll be right back. He's George Kamel. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show.
What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 different answers. Economic growth or a recession? Business taxes will go up or down. AI will help us work, or it will replace us all. But there's no such thing as a crystal ball. That's why more than 40,000 businesses have future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud enterprise resource planning system. Ramsey Solutions uses NetSuite, and you should too. Whether your company's earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. With one unified business management suite, there's only one source of truth for the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. NetSuite's real-time insights and forecasting help you see into the future with actionable data. And when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you can spend less time looking backward and more time focusing on what's next. And speaking of what's next, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. It's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us, America. Alongside George Kamel, I'm Ken Coleman. 888-825-5255. 888-848-5225 is the phone number. Hey, there's a lot that happens in your mind, in your emotions, and just activities when it comes to buying and selling a house, and that leads to feeling paralyzed, feeling overwhelmed. And so we created Ramsey's Real Estate Home Base, right? Just kind of a safe place. What's there at the Ramsey Real Estate Home Base? It's calculators, start to finish guides, how-to articles, a podcast, a book, and even a video course, all with steps that you can take to navigate the buying or selling process. So if you're ready to take the next step, do it with confidence. Go to RamseySolutions.com/real estate. RamseySolutions.com/real estate, or you can click the link in the show notes if you're watching, listening on YouTube or podcast. Let's go to Ottawa, Canada now. Sue is there. Sue, how can we help?
Oh, hello.
How are you, Sue?
Hi, thank you. I'm good. Thank you for taking the call.
Sure.
I'm calling from Canada, Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple of collections. I think it's 7. Yeah, I have 7 different collections. 3 of mine, 4 is mine, and 3 from my husband.
Are you talking about collections?
Yep,
Okay.
we are in collections right
Okay,
now.
gotcha.
And the amount is not too much. It's around $14,000.
Okay.
Each around $2,000. So last month, my husband started working full time. We are new in Canada. We came as a refugee. And first 3 years, we didn't speak English. So all 3 years, we were just educating ourselves to speak English to get
Where are you guys
a
from?
better life here. We are from Turkey.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So first 3 years, we got an English course from college. So we have also like student loan. But it wasn't the best course because it was an academic course, but we didn't even speak English. It didn't help us.
It didn't help you actually get a career.
No, it wasn't for career. It was just to learn English, but we choose the wrong option, to be honest.
Okay.
Instead of free English courses, we chose to go to college, and we couldn't finish the course because it was a heavy academic English course, and we didn't even.
You couldn't
speak
understand it
English.
enough.
No, nothing. So our community, our Turkish community, gave us a bad advice, and they told us we have to get 2 cars on loan and
my
do
goodness.
Uber. And do Uber during those times. That's what we did, and everything went even worse. So I sold my car, and my husband finished her loan this month. Yeah, this was the last month.
Okay.
And during that time, we find a free PSW course from government. We take that course, first me, and then I start working, and then my husband. So last 3 years, we were just having one income coming in the home. So we just avoid all the debt.
Okay,
and this
good.
month, my husband started getting his salary, so
How
our
much?
income is doubled. I'm earning around $3,500, and he earns around $4,000. This is the money comes to our account.
This
after tax.
is per month.
That's your take-home pay after taxes get taken out.
Yes,
Wonderful.
per month.
So you're making $7,500 take-home every month.
Yes, and our how do you say outcome? No, income expense. Our expenses are around $2,500, but also the food. So we can say 35.
Okay. So $3,500 a month. And that means you
month.
should have $4,000 left over if you're doing a written budget, which is just a plan for your money where you go income minus expenses. Here's every dollar we're going to spend.
It looks like it. Like this was the first month we got the money. So we decided to start paying everything and fix the 5 years mistakes we did it. But when I called the collection agency, they told me that I have to pay it in full amount today. And the next salary will come next Friday, and I have to wait. So they told me that I have to call a debt consolidation company.
No,
they will pay
don't
for
listen to
this
them.
debt.
They're lying to your face. They're trying to bully you into
Yes.
paying. You don't have to do anything.
So I told them that I will pay it in 6 months, the whole 7 collections, but they all want me to pay this month. They keep calling me 10 times a day. It's killing me right now. So we decided to talk with the debt recovery agency just to learn what is that, and they made resettlements all the debts, and they said that now it's $10,000. They sent us the paper. Thank God we know English now, so we can read it, and it says that we will pay back 26.
Yeah, these companies are scummy.
$26,000 back.
They're scamming you.
Unbelievable amount. Yeah, so we said no. But now, since yesterday, my phone is they keep calling me because they got my numbers.
Don't
now.
answer.
Every single agency.
So
and every time
they're
told
trying
them
to pressure
I will
you to get so
snowball.
stressed that you'll do anything it takes, even taking on a debt consolidation.
Sue, don't answer the calls. You talk to one person in a supervisor role at all of these different places and say, we are going to pay you back. And this is when I'm going to do it. And you get it in writing.
Say every
And
Friday I'm going to call you with an update, but don't call me. I will not pick up.
Yeah, you don't.
But
have
you
to
will
pick
hear
up.
from me.
You don't have to answer their call. They are not the law.
But they told me that there will be legal insecret. I don't know that
Listen,
word.
if they want to take you to court over a $2,000 debt, tell them, be my guest. It's going to cost you more in lawyer fees than it will what I owe you.
They are threatening you.
So you let them know, hey, I'm trying to pay this off aggressively. Here's my plan. Here's what I can do and when. Put the ball in your court. Don't let anyone bully you. Don't let them take advantage of you. Don't fall for these debt settlement companies. Don't fall for debt consolidation. This is on you guys to pay off on your own, and you will do that with your newfound income. This is an amazing blessing. You're going to have over $4,000 a month to throw at this. You're going to be done with all of this within 4 months. Think about that.
Oh, yeah, we did a math, and it was saying 6 months. If we can do it for amazing.
George Math says 4 months. You guys are going to live off of nothing. You're going to grocery shop just enough rice and beans to where you don't need anything else. You're not going to buy clothes. We're going to really look at every dollar. We're going to have full accountability with you and your husband. We're not going to spend anything we don't need to for the next 4 months. Can you do that?
Oh, we are doing that last 5 years, so for sure we can do that.
Good. You guys are warriors. You have been through a lot, and I hate that you're getting taken advantage of after being refugees and moving to Canada. You guys have had a lot of life change. It's been really hard, and you've been grinding it out, learning a new language, entering this new atmosphere, and all the while getting taken advantage of. And we have to also remember, we did this to ourselves. So there's a personal responsibility of, we chose to go into debt. We chose to put ourselves in this position. But you guys are getting out of this.
The biggest problem, one of the biggest problems, we have one debt in collection. It's $75. I don't even know how we did that. I can't understand. I mean, it's just $75. We didn't see it. We didn't know
get
how
verification.
To use
Say, hey,
systems.
I need written verification of all of these debts before I pay a penny.
They send us. Yeah, they send us. We really have that on one of the credit cards. We just didn't know how to use the online system, and we thought we paid. It was 4 years ago. So now what they told me is it's not just about money. If I pay all these debts, my credit score will be still same. So I have to do this loan to get my credit score better.
No, Sue.
Is that true?
No. This is all they're doing is using tactics to try to get as much money out of you as fast as they can. But they have they're not going to sue you. They don't want to do that. This is a tactic. So is there any money that you have that you could pay some of this stuff off today? That'll get them off your back if you just pay something. Not all of it.
Yeah.
But something. George, I know we got the snowball, but
yesterday, the minimum ones, the $75 and $660 ones I paid yesterday.
Okay.
It was a big relief. It was a good start.
Good. And get written confirmation. Everything, get written confirmation, and don't give them any access to your checking account.
Yeah.
That's the key here. And once you do that and you put the ball in your court, you're going to feel a sense of relief and confidence that you're going to get out of this. But do not let anyone bully you any longer. We're done with that.
Yeah, and it's really important when you use the right word. What would you do if you were on a playground right now and somebody started bullying you? Be an adult, knowing what you know. You know what you do? You go, knock this off, knock it off. What are we doing? This is the dumbest thing I've ever. This is stupid. You're not going to punch me. Get out of my face. And you've got to do that with these collections folks.
They're the worst.
All right, Sue, we're rooting for you. This is the Ramsey Show.
brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Welcome to the Ramsey Show, America, where we help you win with your money, win in your profession, and win with your relationships. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Thrilled to be alongside my pal, the smartly attired and well-equipped financial guru. He is the one, the only.
That's impressive.
George Kamel with a K.
I'm elated to be with you, Ken. Elated.
You're elated? That's a good word. Let's see if we can keep that going. Looks like we're going to Ken in Denver, Colorado. Oh, there's a lot of Kenergy right now. Ken, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. You didn't acknowledge the Kenergy joke at all? Just went right over your head? Not interested?
I did. I guess I'm processing how much Ken is in the room, I guess. So, but so basically, my question is, so right now I feel really stuck in my career. My wife and I are in the middle of baby steps too.
Mm-hmm.
So
how much do you have left?
Get through that. We've got about $50,000 left.
Okay.
So we're plugging away. Right now, I feel like looking to change careers to find something that I have a growth plan on.
Okay.
And my job currently, I feel like I've hit the ceiling without having to move away from where I am.
Tell us what you do.
So I work for my state agency. I am an equipment trainer. Basically, I help new employees attain their CDL license and help with other heavy equipment.
Okay, gotcha. And what do you make?
So right now I make $57,000 a year.
Okay. All right. Well, let me just tell you, the reason you feel stuck and that you've hit a lid is because you have. Nothing against state employees. I have been criticized before when I say state government is kind of a dead end, and it is. It's not because I think it's bad. It's because it is, and I used to work for the governor of Virginia. So, geez, people, when I say facts, understand what I'm saying. And Ken, you can agree, you're stuck because it is a state agency and there's only so many rungs on the ladder, correct?
Right.
All right, great. So you're stuck. But the great news about this is it's not because of you. It's because of where you are. So the question becomes, where do you take all this experience you have up to this point in your career and all the skills you've developed? How do you transfer those to the, let's just say, private sector so you don't have to leave the Denver area or surrounding area and you can go, okay, I can step in and I got not only a chance to make more money, but I've got a ladder of growth. So what does that look like? If I were to just say to you, Ken, based on your skill and experience to this point, what would be the low-hanging fruit or the obvious choices to at least kick the tires on?
I mean, for me, it would involve some type of teaching, whether it's adult teaching, where they're working within a company that needs someone to help train new employees on their processes.
Great.
Because that's what I do. And that's one thing I love about my job. It's not that, I love what I do. I have a great job, but just,
you just have no room for advancement, and that is a depressing place to be.
Right. The only room for advancement at all would be supervising, and I would not be doing what I
Exactly. So you exchange a little bit of extra money for doing something you don't enjoy. So you've already nailed it. So I love this. So we want to write down, if you and I were in a room with a whiteboard, I would write down training/instructing. That's, if we can get a gig where you spend the majority of your day training or instructing, you're going to be a pretty satisfied fella, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we start there. So now we start to look in and around Denver. We go, okay, what are anything that's got the word trainer, instructor in it? I mean, this could be across the board, a lot of different industries. You acknowledge that?
Yeah. Well, so I'm not from the Denver area. That's the closest big town. So I'm from Southwest Kansas. So
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Take everything I just said and just delete the word Denver. But the point is you're looking in your area, let's say a 30-mile radius, right?
Yeah.
Let's look. And so you've got to see what's out there and see what is transferable for you. And I would tell you that your skill set and your experience is transferable to probably a lot of different places. And so the story, the narrative is great too. Ken, why are you considering leaving your current job? I love it. I love the work, but I'm in state government. And so there's very little opportunity for advancement. The only advancement would be into a role that's not doing this. And so I'm ready to move into the private sector. That's a great answer. George, isn't that a great answer?
Absolutely.
Doesn't sound flaky.
No.
And it also sounds impressive. You've been trained by the state. And so we got some credibility there. You got a long track record. Good performance reviews, correct?
Yeah.
Let's go. That's what you're looking for. Now,
Okay.
I wanted to jump in right away, but now I want to give you a chance to ask any questions around what I've said, because that's what I wanted you to hear right out of the gate. That's where you would start. I'm not saying you're limited to what advice I just gave, but you would certainly start there. So what questions do you have that we've not answered?
Well, so my other, I guess part of the question would be, during us going through baby step 2, would that be the good time to switch careers?
Sure, as long as there's no interruption of income.
Okay.
If it's going to mean going back to school and not working and going to $0, then no. But, if this is something where you could do this on the side, get the training you need, and do it on top of, or make that, instead of a leap, it's just a little jump, then we're talking.
Yeah.
And what's your wife's income?
So my wife is a teacher, so she gets about $47,000 a year.
Okay, so you guys are making about $110 gross per year?
Yeah, about.
And on the current trajectory, how long will it take to get out of debt from here?
Last I checked, it'll take us a little bit over a year, because I work a side, I guess you'd call it a side hustle, as an interim pastor.
Okay.
So we're able to put most of that to the debt. So we're able to probably be able to get that done in just over a year.
So I would continue to do that as a side hustle, do as much of it as you can, figure out what training is needed to move into the private sector, if any, and then pursue that, all of that at the same time as you get out of debt.
Okay.
It sounds like you know what you need to do. It's just the confidence of going, should I make this move into maybe the private sector?
Yeah.
But you've got a
absolutely.
few years of experience at this job, right?
Yeah, I got about 3.5 at this position. I've been at the state for about 11 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just doing a search for training, instructor work, and seeing what all is out there. And I think there might be some contract work you could pick up right now before you even decide what's the next full-time move. That's what I would be looking for, just to get momentum in baby step 2. But here's the deal. You're going to be okay. Yes, you can make the transition, but you make the transition when you step off of one boat right onto the next boat. All right? No jumping out into the water.
Sounds great.
Yeah, you got this, Ken. Let's go, man. I need some Kenergy out of you. I'll give you the last
All right,
word.
thanks, guys.
Are you confident? Are you confident now?
I'm getting there.
All right, my man. He needed a little Kenergy, George.
That's all you need sometimes.
Yeah. I think that's my allotment for saying that word.
Yeah, we're
Notice
done.
I stopped.
No, it's over.
I think that's like 3 or 4 times. It's too much. This is the Ramsey Show. Mortgage rates have dropped, so if you're thinking about buying a home in the next year, contact your local Churchill mortgage team right now. If you wait, more people will be in the market competing for the same homes and potentially driving up prices. Churchill will help you do the math to be sure your budget is correct, making your home a blessing and helping you build lasting wealth. Learn more at churchillmortgage.com. churchillmortgage.com. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Thrilled that you are with us alongside George Kamel. I'm Ken Coleman. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Let's go to Austin, Texas, and Jake is waiting for us there. Jake, how are you?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Oh, we're having a good time. We can't hear you real well. Give me another little sound check there.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. I don't know what you did. The flick of the wrist, man. Nice move. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for having me. Quick question. I am just curious. My financial advisor is recommending that I open a whole life plus 100 life insurance policy.
Of course.
And so I would just love y'all's wisdom and input on that.
Well, here's the simple wisdom. Fire them.
Okay.
You don't have a financial advisor. You have an insurance salesman posing as a financial advisor.
Yeah, so I guess the situation is they are recommending to open this to supplement income if the market is down.
No, we know all this, Jake.
No, we know how the scam works. We're just telling you it's a scam.
Yeah, so saving you a little bit of time, anything you tell us that they told you, we've heard.
Yeah.
So George is feisty today. Very feisty.
I just hate...
I believe you ate
here's
and
the thing,
left no
Jake.
crumbs. Is that what the kids say?
Yeah, yes, ate and left no crumbs. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Here's
I'm
the
trying,
deal.
folks. I'm really trying.
I hate nothing more than when people get ripped off. And I'm glad you're catching this before you jumped into it, and we have to tell you, cancel the whole life policy and fire your financial advisor. And so I understand what they're telling you. Here's the key. Any good financial advisor would tell you, you should not mix insurance and investing. If you want to invest, be my guest. If you want insurance, get you some term life insurance. But you should not mix the two. It's a very crappy product. Just the internal cost of this thing could implode eventually because of how expensive it is and how high the commissions are for the insurance agent. And so they don't have your best interest at heart. That's the bottom line. And any financial advisor who's worth their salt would tell you, oh, Jake does not need whole life insurance. He needs to invest in XYZ fund. And so they should be, I don't know where you found this person. Is this an old buddy of yours?
It's mutual, one of their sister companies.
Okay. I would say no thank you, and I'm going to actually pause, and I'll circle back when the time comes, and then just never circle back. You do it as politely as you need to, and if you want a trustworthy financial advisor, jump on RamseySolutions.com and click on Trusted Pros, and I can guarantee you they're never going to be pitching you whole life insurance.
You just gave me a great idea for a segment that James will never approve.
Hit me. Pitch it.
We could do old school shock jock kind of radio, but nothing shocking, and we would
just
be
the
on with
part?
Jake. Well, hear me out.
Okay.
We would be on with Jake right now, and we would have James and the fancy, they're all smart back there, and they could dial up this guy's advisor.
Oh, we hear
and
it live.
And the guy answers. Jake's on the call. We're over here, and Jake goes, "Hey, so and so, listen, I'm getting back to you on the proposal. I got a couple guys with me on here." And you and I now jump in and we go, "Hey, so-and-so, it's Ken and George from the Ramsey Show. And we just had a great talk with Jake. And Jake has authorized us to say this to you. No thanks." And we hang up the phone.
That's it. We do it for him.
It's not ugly.
Yeah.
It's not unkind.
I'm sure
But you
he's a
just
good
said
person.
no thanks. And I like it's no thanks.
I'm down, Ken. I'm down. Let's do it.
Do you like that?
I
It's
love it.
not unkind. And we're not trying to be rude. But it's a kind of you're fired. But it's like, by the way, you're on the Ramsey Show and no thanks.
I'm just impressed James liked one of your ideas. You know how rare that is?
Well, to be fair to James, my ideas are not necessarily very easy for him to like.
Ken's eaten food on the show several times, so I'm pretty sure I don't turn down Ken's ideas that much.
I know. I'm actually making James out to be. He's very nice. He's one of the nicest people on the planet.
pleasant.
No, I thought it was fun, James. I really didn't think it was a serious pitch. But if we could do that, I do think it would be entertaining. Because here's why I'm saying this. Jake calls. Here's what's going on. How many times do we get that call in a given month about whole life?
Probably 5.
Okay.
5 or 6 at least.
But this is an industry that still thrives.
Yes.
They're still out there. And boy, if you've ever heard Dave talk about whole life, holy smokes. I mean, when we get a whole life
nice
call,
about it.
Oh my gosh. When he calls, I put a helmet on.
I
And
think
when somebody
whole life
calls,
hurt Dave as a child. There's that level of anger and trauma involved.
anyway, no thanks, Jake. George gave you, I like those very kind because you're a classy guy.
Yeah, I don't
No
want to be a
thanks.
jerk.
No thanks. That's our new thing. No thanks. Kathleen is up next in Chicago. Kathleen, how can we help?
Hi, thank you for taking my call, by the way. I am currently living with my daughter while I'm looking to buy a house. And what I've been looking at, it feels like the prices are way high for what the houses are. And
you're breaking up on us, Kathleen. Speak
Kathleen,
directly into your phone.
I don't know if you're in a bad cell zone, but we can't hear you.
Oh, let me come closer to the window. I'm by the window. Can you hear me now?
I was going to suggest that, but I didn't want to be too bold.
So you feel like house prices are very high right now, and you want to buy a house. What's the question?
The question is, should I go ahead and throw all my money into the house, or should I hold off and wait for a housing bubble, if there is in fact one, to burst, while we recover with our energy production and reduce regulations?
Wow. Yeah. You're very trusting in...
Well, Kathleen, let me tell you what Kathleen is. Kathleen is paying attention to the headlines, aren't you, Kathleen? You're in the news.
Well, I'm watching it for sure.
I know. That's where that comes from, George. Tell her about the bubble.
The bubble, we talked about this when the last time this came up, which was around kind of post-COVID. Mm-hmm. Everyone's freaking out, and we did a whole real estate event talking about, hey, there's not going to be this market crash. It's not going to be 2008 all over again, and there's a lot of reasons for that. We covered it in the event. The TLDR on this is I would not wait. I would not sit on the sidelines waiting, hoping for some bubble, and here's how I know that. If mortgage interest rates go down, what's going to happen? It's going to cause more buyers to flood the market, right?
Correct.
What happens when more buyers flood the market? Prices don't go down, they go
up.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I don't see a drastic change in home prices. We've seen a little fluctuation here and there, and I think you're going to look back 6 years from now and go, oh my gosh, why did I wait? That house that was $600 is now $750. Mm-hmm. And so the right time to buy a house is when you're financially ready. And so when you said I put all my money, what does that entail?
Well, I shouldn't say all my money. I'm retired, and I have my retirement investments, and that's set aside but to not be touched.
Okay.
But this is money that I have from when I sold my last house.
Okay. How much are we talking?
We're talking $350,000.
And how much is the house that you would like to buy?
I'd like to buy a house for $350,000, but they are not looking like anything I can actually live in over the long course. I want something that I can retire, that I can age in place.
Okay, so what would that cost? Is it $400, $450, $500?
Yeah, it's looking like to touch it, it's $400.
Okay, so let's say you took out a $50,000 loan. Could you afford the payment on that with your retirement income, where it's 25% or less of your take-home pay?
I believe so, yes.
Then I would do it, and I would pay it off, and in a few years it'll be gone. I mean, most people have car loans bigger than that, and so taking on $50,000 to get into a house now before it becomes a $500,000 house 4 years from now, I'm going to do that.
I agree.
So you don't have a moving target on your hands.
I agree. That's a smart play.
Thank you. That's the lesson of inflation. And you wonder, well, okay, which side should I be on, the inflation or the bubble burst?
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, and so I live my life like I'm in control of what I'm in control of. And I hope they change the regulations and that we're flooded with more supply in the market, and that helps the housing market as a whole. Yeah. But I don't put a feather in my hat with that. No. I got to live my life.
Yeah, and Kathleen, this is a little extra advice you didn't ask for. I'd look at your cell phone carrier.
I might switch carriers. That's a good call, Ken.
You don't want to be near the window all the time.
You deserve better cell signal in retirement. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. You don't want to have to be stuck in one place of the house just to make a good call. So I think you deserve better. I'm not calling out.
We need to look into Wi-Fi calling on the show. Is that a thing, James?
Maybe. I got to look into it.
He's going to look into it.
We've pushed way too much. We need to settle down. Hey, quick break. Don't go anywhere. People are lining up to get coached up. You don't want to miss it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is Jade Warshaw. Listen, I get it. The student loan situation is bananas, but it's time to make progress, not excuses. So if your payment and interest rate have you treading water, refinancing could be the solution for you. Look, if I were in your shoes, I would contact Laurel Road today and get a free 30-minute consultation. You'll work with a student loan expert and you'll go over your refinancing options. For refinancing to make sense, you've got to check certain boxes, like making a good income. And bottom line, Ramsey's advice is that you only refinance if you can get a lower rate or a shorter term. Remember, the point is to pay off debt faster. Maybe you just need to keep rocking the debt snowball. But if refinancing does make sense for you, Laurel Road offers low competitive rates and interest rate discounts are available for stuff like auto pay. Listen, you can't mess around with student loans. If you want them gone, you gotta go hard. So go to laurelroad.com/Ramsey to find out more and schedule your free 30-minute consultation. That's laurelroad.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back, America. You're joining the conversation about you, your life, how to win with your money, win in your profession, win with your relationships here on The Ramsey Show. Alongside George Kamel, I'm Ken Coleman. Phone number is 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. Let's go to Detroit. And William is there. William, how can we help?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're having a blast. How can we help?
Yeah, so I'll get right to the point. So me and my wife, first off, huge fans of the show. We've been doing the baby steps for about a month now. We're totally sold out, changed our life, changed everything about us. But
awesome.
I guess the issue that we're having is we've been attending a church for about 10 years, 10, 11 years. Somewhere around there. And, our pastor isn't aligned with this viewpoint of debt that we now have. And we're just wondering how to navigate that. Because like I said, it's changed everything about our life. So
when you say he's not aligned, has he from the pulpit talked about debt?
Let me think. From the pulpit, no, but I close relationship with him. I know his viewpoints.
Okay.
And the way the church structure is. And I'm not hating on him. I love the guy. He's done so much for me, but it's mentally straining. His mentality is you'll always have debt. Debt's a part of life, right?
Wow. Has he read? There's a book out there. It's called the Bible. Has he looked into that?
Yeah.
Okay. How does he reconcile? Proverbs 22:7, the borrower is slave to the lender.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think he's think he's preached a message on debt or used that passage. I think he just. Everybody, just like everybody else, looks at the world we live in, and everybody uses debt. They think they leverage debt.
Okay,
or whatever,
let me throw another one at you. Be not conformed. You know that one? To the pattern of this world, be renewed by the. Does that not ring a bell for him either? That we shouldn't conform to culture and the stupidity of it.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
Okay, I'm not a pastor. I don't have a theological basis for this. These are just spitballing.
Well,
Ken.
Listen, you're dropping scripture, George. There's no shame in your game. Here's my question. So, William, the pastor is not, you're not calling because the pastor is preaching this and trying to lead the flock and all this. He's not anti you and your wife being a part of the baby steps and FPU and all that stuff. It's just when you guys are having conversation, you're kind of on fire and you're talking about all this, and this is just kind of two dudes talking, and he just kind of glibly throws out, and this kind of just bothers you a little bit. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, because it's different than a friend. He's right. My pastor, and I love the guy.
Yeah, but here's my question.
Tough, yeah.
What is your question for us?
Yeah, I don't, it's, so for me and my wife now, this has become part of our doctrine, for me, because I've struggled for so many years when me and my wife got married. Ever since we got married, debt has been such a huge thing for us. It's kept me up at night,
right.
Everything you guys talk about. Right. And then we started the baby steps, and there's peace now.
Right.
But to be in a position where you don't feel comfortable to talk with someone, you respect because you know their response, it's mentally draining.
Got it. So are you having this conversation all the time with him?
No, that's the thing. Like I said, we just started. I haven't really brought it up to him. I don't know. It's just
okay. So here's what I'm trying to get at. So William, I feel you. I understand what you're saying. However, I think you've got this thing worked up really big in your mind, and I think it's actually not that big a deal. And here's what I mean: if his view on debt as your pastor is got you to a place where you just are uncomfortable with him on other issues, it's time for you to go find another church. However, I want to point out that as a pastor's kid, that you have to decide, what is it? What does that relationship look like? What do I want it to look like? And is this something that is worthy of me leaving the church? And if it is, fine. That is your prerogative. I got zero problem with it. But if you can still sit under his preaching and you feel like he's leading the church in a fiscally responsible way, because a lot of churches, here's the other not so secret, there's a lot of churches out there that have debt and use debt and they pay it off and they use it to build buildings and everything else. So I'm not quite sure. You don't really have a question for us. You're just kind of going, what do you guys think? And so what I think is that if this is a stumbling block for you, another scripture, and he is a stumbling block for you, then remove yourself out of the path of the stumbling block. He doesn't think he's a stumbling block. So you're not going to change his views on debt. And this is a guy that knows all that scripture. He knows it backwards, forwards, most likely. I hope so. And he's glib about it. So don't let this be a distress to you. It shouldn't be. You're giving that way too much power. George?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not saying, hey, you need to leave the church tomorrow. I'm saying if you can't deal with the incongruency and you also don't trust his leadership anymore, then I think that's going to weigh on you, just like it would in a career. If you don't trust your leadership, you think there's a lack of integrity there, it doesn't align with your values, eventually that's going to eat away at your soul. And so I'm telling you, that would be a reason to leave. But if you're like, hey, good guy, theologically sound, we disagree on debt as a tool, all right, that's a different situation.
Yeah.
But there's a piece of this, Ken. And my church, we inherited, there was a church merger. They inherited $7 million of debt. Yeah. And they looked up and said, we're giving $1 million in interest to lenders every single year. Yeah. What if we aggressively attack this as a church and we freed up that $1 million to do the work of the church? Yeah. And that's exactly what they did. Yeah. And now they're able to fund ministries and new projects, and they're building, centers for recovery, and they have a whole ministry for single parents to fund car repairs and furnish cars for them. That's the kind of stuff you can do when you're debt free, instead of, we got to make payments, so that's what your tithes are going to, kids. Yeah,
and I this is a relational issue, and I want to hang out here for just a second, George, because I think this is important, and I think I want to help William as best we can. But I have very good friends, George. I mean, very good friends. I love being with these friends. But we don't agree on some stuff. I mean, like the kind of stuff that's like big stuff. And if we were to constantly talk about that, it would create a real tension. But I have found we don't need to talk about it. Because here's what I know. They have thought and decided a long time ago, this is what they think about this particular issue.
This is their worldview on this issue.
That's right. So have I. And I'm not changing it. And neither are they. Everybody's aware. We didn't sit down and have this conversation the way I'm laying it out, but we just kind of know that. You know what?
There's sort of an unspoken boundary there.
We kind of know where we are, and because we value being around each other, we just steer clear of that particular topic. And the relationship is one of my favorite friends. So I just got to tell you, I appreciate William, but there's this crusader mentality. We have it here in the building. And when people's lives are changed by the baby steps in this philosophy, you want to share that good news. It's the same as somebody coming to faith. Maybe they were an agnostic or an atheist, and their life is transformed literally by this good news. And what do they want to do? They want to share it everywhere. Why don't you get this? Why don't you get this? And not everybody gets the baby steps. Not everybody thinks it even matters. And it feels like this is so it's this real weird deal for William and a lot of us when we are so passionate and convicted about something that has transformed us. So here's the deal. Not everybody's going to get it. And that's not up to you.
Yeah. Well, you just gave me a light bulb moment. I think William should lead a Financial Peace University class in the church. Start a groundswell movement of people going, hey, we became debt-free in our personal life. What's going on with the church? What if we could become debt-free as a church? What could we do?
And the pastor's probably not going to be against that. The pastor just goes, my personal life, I don't mind carrying this, and I don't mind this. And, I get it. It's a tough situation. But you don't have to lose relationships over some of this stuff, is my point. Do you? I mean,
do you?
It's hard enough to live your life. Trying to live someone else's? I don't know. So, anyway. Food for thought. Thanks, William, for the call. You're a good man. Quick break. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
Remember the good old days of the internet before it was a privacy nightmare filled with spammers, scammers, hackers, and fraudsters? Simpler times. Now, I don't have a time machine, but I do have the next best thing, Delete Me. Think of Delete Me as your online bodyguard, helping to protect you from the risks of online scams and data breaches. Here's how they do it. They scour the web to find and remove your data from these sketchy data broker websites. And this includes your name, your phone number, your email, your address, and more. And Delete Me will send you a detailed report of what they did and how much time they've saved you. And they've saved me 66 hours so far, which is more time I can spend trying to nail the wordle of the day on the first try. Delete Me has been around for over a decade, and they now have over 100 million data removals, which explains why they have a mountain of rave reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. It's been great for my family, and I love getting fewer targeted ads, fewer spam texts, and fewer creepy robocalls. So this holiday season, share peace of mind by gifting a Delete Me subscription to someone you love, or even just like. Their individual plans start at just $9 a month, and you can sign up today at joindeleteme.com/Ramsey for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show alongside George Kamel. I'm Ken Coleman. So glad you're with us. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. Our Ramsey Network app question is from Derek today. Derek writes, my New Year's resolution is to max out my Roth IRA contribution. I'm 30 years old, and I want to know if it's best to contribute to a target date index fund that will automatically adjust risk as I age, or should I just invest in an S&P 500 index fund?
Great nerdy question from our friend Derek. He has been doing the research.
Yes, he has.
Okay, so I'll give you one man's take on this. I am personally not a fan of target date funds, and here's what they do. They start out with mostly equities, right? Stocks. And over time, they'll start to introduce more bonds into the equation, which will reduce your quote-unquote risk, but it also reduces your returns. So think about this. You get to retirement age at 60, and you could make it to 90. So for the next 30 years, you've basically stunted the growth of that account to the point where it might run out. And so here's my take, and Dave would back me up on this. It's wise to just stay invested heavily in equities. Now, if you talk to your financial advisor at 60 and you take into account your risk tolerance and all that, they might go, hey, let's put you in 20%, 30% bonds, whatever. But I'm not a fan of target date index funds doing that on your behalf, especially for a young 30-year-old. Yeah. You want to stay heavily invested in the stock market versus moving towards those bond funds. So yeah, S&P 500 index fund is great. Growth stock mutual funds are great. In those retirement accounts, mutual funds are awesome. If you're talking about a taxable brokerage account outside of retirement, that's where the index funds really come in handy because they're low turnover and you'll have lower tax implications on that. So great question, Derek. I'm going to go with no to the target date fund and yes to staying in the equities, my friend.
I'm going with what he said.
A lot of nerd speak.
Well done, sir.
But a lot of
you
people
should do this for a living.
Well, a lot of people they set it and forget it. That's the beauty of target date funds, and you can do worse. It's not a terrible thing.
Right.
But my take is I want to keep that 10 to 12% return instead of getting a 3, 4, 5% return
I agree.
in retirement.
Couldn't agree more. Let's go to Salt Lake City now, where Bridget is joining us. Bridget, how can we help?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited to talk to you guys.
Well, that's fun.
The excitement is shared.
I like that little chuckle, little pre-question chuckle there from Bridget. This is exciting, Bridget. How can we help?
Yes, I have recently become the main breadwinner of our family when my husband retired from the military. And now we are looking at how to protect our family's well-being in case I become unable to work. So we have been looking into disability insurance, but we are also pretty sure that I will have at least a couple of exclusions from coverage. So we're wondering if it's even worth
Is it due to the nature of your career?
No. It's just pre-existing conditions that I have been living with for 2 decades now.
Okay, so you have a pretty good idea that you're going to eventually have to stop working. Do you have a kind of a timeline?
No, not like that. It's like things like hypertension, and I have a few spine and stuff like that. So those are things that, if they happen or if they become worse,
I see.
are gonna get me disabled, but they may never become an issue.
Gotcha.
But they very well might.
Okay, gotcha.
Can you purchase this through your employer?
No.
Okay. So if you're going to go kind of look at the marketplace, have you gotten some quotes yet?
I have talked to vendors.
Okay. What'd they say?
They're currently, all of my information is in underwriting, but they said that I should probably expect a premium around $100 a month.
That sounds reasonable.
I was also surprised but with all 3 of my conditions excluded.
So if you're unable to work due to those conditions, it won't be covered.
Correct.
Got it. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, your goal should be to become self-insured at that point. I would take the disability insurance for $100 a month, and then on top of that, be working those baby steps to become self-insured over time, and make sure that you have other insurance in place, like term life policy, for example. Do you have that?
Yes, but I need to up it. I was covered for the little bit that I was making as a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, but I need to, now that I'm the main breadwinner.
Yeah, what do you make a year?
Last year I made 71, but I wasn't working full time, so it's probably going to be more around 90,000 this year.
Awesome. So you're looking at $1 million policy, and some of these you can even do no medical exam completely online. And so, you might be able to, especially if you're just trying to get a little bit more on top of the one that you already have, it's going to be very affordable. The disability insurance you just mentioned, $100 a month, very reasonable. Usually it's 1 to 3% of your annual income, and it's going to cover 60 to 70% of your income should you need to use it.
Yeah, they told me that I can, Sanders told me that I can probably expect around $3,000 a month, which is perfect because it covers our mortgage. And
Awesome.
Then my husband's VA disability in retirement just has to cover our groceries and all of those things, which should be very easily doable.
And remember, here's the point of insurance. It's just to transfer risk so that you don't have to shoulder it. So to pay someone $100 a month, $1,200 a year, you do that for 20 years, it's $24,000. Over 20 years, I will happily pay that for the peace of mind, knowing that if something should happen, I'm going to get that $3,000 a month for the foreseeable future. And so that's where is it worth the investment? Absolutely. For the $100 a month you're paying and for the risk that you're transferring, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bridget, for the call.
Great question.
That, yeah.
Not every day you get to talk about disability insurance.
It's fair. That's a good point.
And Ramsey, we have ours covered through Ramsey, so it's a good thing to check with your employer to see if they already cover it, if they offer it. Usually it's very affordable through your employer, and that's a great way to go.
And you saw Xander, she went to Xander, you got a great quote there that's very reasonable for a lot of peace of mind, as you said. Let's go to Boston, Massachusetts, that area. That's where George hails from.
Love it.
Mike is there. Mike, how can we help?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I have recently, sadly, I guess, come into some money through an inheritance. My wife and I's plan is to pay off all of our debts, and even with that, we'll have some money left over.
Wow.
My specific question is: we currently have a mortgage that totals about $450,000. $350 of that is a 20-year mortgage at 2.875%, and we have about 15 years left to pay on that. The other $100,000 is a HELOC that's about 6% right now. We're going to have enough to pay off the HELOC and get the regular, the first mortgage down to about $250,000.
Wow.
My question is, and I've asked a couple folks, I'm getting competing answers, so I'm hoping you guys are the tiebreaker. I have the possibility of refinancing that $250,000 balance to a regular mortgage at 6%, but for 10 years. So
what would be the point of that? To lower the payment?
So if I lower the my payment's currently $3,300 a month. If I refinance, I can get that payment down to about $2,400 a month, and then I'll be able to actually put $1,000 per month towards the principal alone.
Well, you can just do that on your 20-year mortgage. You can still add more to the principal. It's not going to change the numbers.
With my income, I wouldn't be able to do that. So
what's your take-home pay?
About
every month.
Monthly, $10,000.
Okay. I think this is reasonable. I would just attack that mortgage with a vengeance. What you can look into is a mortgage recast, where they can just recast it without changing the terms, without changing the interest rate, and that can get your payment lower while really accomplishing the same goal. And so I wouldn't refinance at this juncture unless you're going to ROI on it real quick.
Thanks for the call.
One man's take.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, what are you still doing here? You know the rest of the show's happening on the Ramsey Network app, right? So you got to jump over there to continue watching. You can download it for free. Just go to your app store, type in Ramsey Network. It's completely free, and I'll drop a link in the show notes to make it easy for you. So if you're watching on the app, you're in luck. But if you're watching anywhere else, this show is over for you. So jump onto the app and let the fun continue. All right. Go on now. Don't make it weird. Okay, I got nowhere to go, so you need to go. Okay, bye-bye now. All right, it's getting weird over there, guys. What do we do?